I better not forget to add myself into the stream. Jim Bob, get a fucking grip, lad. Get a fucking grip, lad. People start thinking you're pissed out fucking cunt. Next thing you know, poor Jim will be talking away for an hour here and no fucking ugly mug on the screen. Hey everyone, hello, hello, hello. Anyway, I'll move the mic a little bit out of my fucking gob, right? I'll just move it away because after all, I do have a tendency just to let an odd roar out of me from time to time when I get a wee bit excited about whatever might be going on. But anyway, so the sound is good. How you doing, Mascara? How you, Kendo? Hello, Tony, mate. You well? Stewie, greetings. Good evening. Hello, Paula. How are you, my girl? Let's see if we catch up, see if we've missed anybody. Big conversation going on quite on beforehand, but I assume that wasn't connected to me. So I'll just pick up where we are now. So I have caught up and everything's hunky-dory. So it's been a mad last hour for me here. Absolutely fucking mental. I started at, what time is it? It's what, we're 10 now. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock this evening, I started to say, all right, okay, I best get my fucking finger out my butthole, right, and see if I can organize a few of these stories because I had about a gazillion tabs open. Absolute gazillion tabs open. It's just, right, let's fucking see if we can get this shit sorted out so I don't fucking arrive on the show with one arm longer than the fucking other, right? So anyway, I think we're past 15 seconds now. It's safe to curse like a hooer now, right? So anyway, so got my story sorted. So 9 o'clock arrived. It's just, right, what else? What else has to be done? Shit, the fucking chicken is going to go off if you don't cook a Jim. So what the fucking chicken? I forgot all about the goddamn fucking chicken. How you doing, Stephen Owens? Thanks for joining in. I forgot all about the hooer of a fucking chicken, man. The cunt was dead. And so rather than let the hooer die for nothing, I decided, right, let's cook the bastard, right? So anyway, chopped the hooer up and threw him in with a pile of onions and carrots and parsnips and tomato sauce, and I threw some beans in. Do you know what? I'm taking a great dislike to pulses and beans because do you know what? I fart like a cunt on them. You should smell my farts after I run these fucking lentils and beans, man. You know, and there's a lot to be said for a meat diet, you know, an awful lot, like. But anyway, so anyway, dinner's cooking at the moment. I just have to fucking stay tuned in and not forget that it's on because do you know what? Several times I started cooking dinner, right? And you know, you might be having a few bevies and stuff like that, you know, and I'd have a tendency at the end of the night to get a bit drunk and a bit forgetful. And you'd wake up around fucking the next morning and dinner is not only cooked, but it's burnt fucking black. Like it's happened to me several fucking times. So I just have to stay tuned in, like, you know. That's happened several times to me. I do that with pizza. I do that with pizza, everything. I'm not as bad as I used to be. Like I used to be a lot fucking worse, like, you know, but I'm not as bad as I used to be. And sometimes I wonder where the fuck is my mind, you know? It's definitely not on this planet sometimes, but anyway, so dinner's cooking. So if anybody wants to give me a prod and a nudge and go and give it a stir before the end of the show, that would be grateful. Like, but I'll probably okay. I'm not pissed just yet, you know. AF462904, and you're not over in the room. Oh, and I must say hello to anybody listening on Rumble. Hello to anybody over on the Raconteurs website. I just haven't logged into all those platforms just yet, but I am going to presently do that because, like, it wouldn't be fair just to not check in with everybody because I'm kind of like trying to catch up here at the moment. So, Raconteurs and the Colin 8080. That's where we are over on our main website, and we have Gonzo Johnny at the website. Hello, Johnny. Are you well, bro? And thanks for tuning in over on our streaming service. I don't know how many people are tuned in over on raconteursnews.com. So we have 5 listeners at the moment on raconteursnews.com. So I'd like to take this moment just to welcome you all. Thanks for tuning in on our own platform. Fair play. And I must check in with Rumble as well too, and try to keep up with all these different streams as best as I can. I know it's complicated. All this stuff is really complicated. I really miss my sidekick. I really do. He used to keep close watch on all the different chats and stuff like that. So at the moment, it's a wee bit odd, like when you're just on your own and trying to watch free chats and we got 4629004 over on the Rumble site as well too. How many people are listening? There's 5 watching over on Rumble as well too. So I'd like to welcome everybody who hasn't introduced themselves in the chat on Rumble. Just welcome you and thanks for tuning in. So anyway, that's the housekeeping. That's the housekeeping done. And let's see if I can remember what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing here. So we have a grand total of 17 watching now, but it looks of it like, but it's hard to know what to make of. That's over on the. It's hard to know what to make of these statistics as well too. Like how reliable are they? It's hard to know sometimes, but it doesn't matter. It's a Saturday night, and we are live, and I'm still not 100% settled on the Saturday night. I'm not 100% settled there, right? So just if Saturday doesn't suit everybody, like we can always consider a change and go back to maybe a Friday, if But like there's no rush. I just thought for the moment, like I just needed a change of routine, so I settled on Saturday night, like but it's not written in stone, like So like if we do need to change it back, like we just might change it back to fucking Friday night, yeah, like. Although it would have been hard to compete like with Cookie and Pete's show last night. It was pretty good. Over with Bob Fishman, is it fit? The Bob Fishman project, like I can't remember the dude's name. Like very, very interesting show. Very, very interesting. I thought he fucked up a few times. I thought there was a couple of times he fucked up, like, how you doing, Barry Turgoose? Good man. And John Smith, hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining in, Barry. I didn't realize until last night, I think, that Steve had a brother. So there you go. Nice to meet you, bro. Nice to meet you, and welcome. So, but yeah, I was chatting about the Steve Turgoose show, not the Steve show, but the impromptu Cookie and Pete show with the Martin Fishman project team leader Bob, whatever his name is, and I thought he fucked up. Like when it came to, we're talking about the Chernobyl reactor, right? We're chatting about the Chernobyl reactor, and Bob turned around and he said that like, but they never found the corium. He says, huh? Fuck off, man. No, they found the fucking corium. He says, and now I'm not going to get into an argument with him about it or anything like that. Like, I'd love to know what his fucking sources are, because I'm nearly 100% certain they did find the fucking corium, right? Absolutely. Like they have pictures of it. Like it's called the elephant's foot, right? And if you go and search online for the elephant's foot, it'll probably just come up with but if you have to add Chernobyl in, like you will find it like the elephant's foot. Like it's a big picture. What's supposed to be the corium, which was left after the meltdown of the reactor there in Chernobyl. So he threw me for 6 with that one, and I was just thinking, hold on, where are you getting your fucking information from? Because it's not lining up with what my understanding of what happened in Chernobyl and the aftermath, and whether or not it was looking for. Like I know it's possible that like the elephant's foot could be a conspiracy theory. I don't know, man, but like that's my knowledge of it. That's absolutely my knowledge of it. Like that the corium was found. So anyway, I'd love if I ever got a chance to pose a question, like if Cookie and Pete's listening now, and you ever do an interview with Bob again, I'll tell you what, I will be asking that fucking question, and be pointing out and asking him like, how come what they're claiming is the elephant's foot is not the remains of the corium, the remains of the fucking reactor, and the and the nuclear waste. So he really threw me. But apart from that, like my head was spinning with all the information last night around this weird technology that he's talking about. So it was fascinating. So if anybody has has about 2.5 hours or 3 hours to spare to go back and listen to that podcast from Cookie and Pete's there last night, it was very, very interesting. I thought I was going to get a simplified version of his work instead, but it's my head was still spinning. My head was still, but like I kind of get what he's talking about. I do because I've watched a good few of his because I do follow his channel. Like I do follow Bob's channel and stuff like that. So I am familiar with what he's talking about. But for an average user, like trying to catch up, like it would have been very, very difficult. Like when you go and you check out Bob's work on his own channel, like he has it all sort of like he shows you the slides, he shows you the pictures. He's got really interesting pictures and slides and stuff like that, like which was probably lacking a little bit last night, which might have made it easier for anybody totally unfamiliar with Bob's work, like, but definitely worth checking out, like, and so also a little bit of a Marley update. I had another appointment with Marley, the fucking cat, the cat from fucking hell, right? So anyway, she's still not right, and so we went to see the vet on Thursday, and I have to say, this vet was just astounding compared to the first vet. Like like no comparison, no absolute comparison. Like you know, sometimes you go to a vet, right, and you just assume that they know what they're going to do, what they're looking for, this, that, and the other, and like I know fuck all about cats, only that you have to fucking feed the goddamn fuckers and kick them up the hole sometimes, like when they're in the way and stuff like that. And that's all I know about cats, right? And so I just assumed that like a vet would be able to tell me, like, okay, right, what the first vet told me made sense: ear infection, blah 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 blah, and well, that makes a bit of sense, But she didn't do any fucking investigation, and I wouldn't have fucking known because I hadn't researched. Obviously, I hadn't researched it because I didn't know what the fuck was wrong with the cat. Like originally, I thought like she might have gone and taken one of these like behind my back, like being afraid of the coof and all that, So I thought she might have gone and get herself treated with some Fauci juice, right? That was what I thought at first because she looked like she was suffering from neurological fucking shit, right? But anyway, it turns out the first vet was probably right to a certain degree, but she didn't base that on anything, probably just a guess. This vet on Thursday actually sort of like really got her hands dirty. She got cotton wool in at Marley's ears, right? Pulled fucking lumps of muck and shit out of it. And next thing you know, she's in like with a little scope and she's looking inside the ear, right? So it turns out she has got red inside her ears, right? So there's clearly an infection going on in there. So at least this time I got a bit of certainty as to what was fucking going on. And the only reason I got that certainty was because this girl actually knew what the fuck she was doing, right? And it's just amazing the difference between different vets is like, some are just okay to make just casual guesses without doing any science, right? And then another vet, like, and she was very pretty, very, very pretty vet, like unreal. So it was money well spent, to put it that way. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than getting mugged by a pretty veterinarianess. It's a great feeling, right? It's an absolute great feeling. So anyway, Marley is back on the meds again, right? So this time it's a kind of a different routine, kind of a different concoction. It's a mixture of steroids and antibiotics, and it's in the form of a gel, and it has to be squirted into her ears. I had the option of taking pills, but I wasn't confident about getting pills into Marley. Like, she's like myself, like, she can be pretty temperamental, like, and She takes a notion. She'll take no fucking shit. She'd bite me fucking fingers off if I overstep my mark. I know what she's like, and so so I'm on the drops. She's on the. I'm on the drops. I'm on the drops for fucking 2 weeks now again, right? So Squirt's into. She's already protesting. She doesn't like the drops in the air at all. So it should be interesting as the next couple of weeks develop to see just how feisty she's going to get. But hopefully she realizes it's going to. I think it is working already. I think it's helping a lot. So time will tell. But it seems to be to me to be a little bit better form of a treatment, going straight into the ears. There's an antibiotic in the gel as well too. So there's a steroid and an antibiotic in it. Like there was a part of it there. Like obviously it must be a common thing for cats. Because said, oh well, I might give her this this compound. I thought she was going to go out the back and mix it up, but no, she had a pile of fucking shit on the shelf. Like there says obviously it must be a common thing. Cats and dogs. So, but anyway, so we're back on the medication for fucking 2 more weeks, man. So twice a day this time. So it's oh god, fuck. I hate routines, man. I fucking hate them, but has to be done. So, but at least this time, the vet just seemed a little bit more interested and a little bit more astute and had better skill sets at actually dealing with the problem. So that was good. I thought that was good. So and you know what it's like going to the vets, like you getting fucking mugged. How you doing, Mascara? How you doing, Blazing Stars? Hopefully I didn't miss anybody here. So I'll just Kendo, did I say hello to Kendo? And New Being, hello, New Being. Stewie's in, and I got Stephen and Chris. Hey, Chris. And hopefully I didn't miss too many. I'm not keeping up with the conversation. Chris is saying Chernobyl was a steam explosion, not a nuclear reaction. Was it a steam explosion? Yes, a steam explosion will be what kind of like part of the symptoms of it, but together with the steam explosion, you've got the breakdown of all the function of the reactor, which has a sort of a knock-on effect where you got like knocked out cooling systems and water flow disrupted, like unable to cool reactor rods and stuff like that, and then which leads to a fucking chaotic situation where. But yes, I would agree. The steam explosion probably would have been the initial, but I'm not sure of all the details. But that probably would have been the initial failure in the reactor, of an out of control reactor. You just get steam explosion. So yeah, you're 100% correct there, Chris. But then again, you've got all these secondary effects. When a reactor breaks, it's inevitable that you're going to get other failures. And like if you have a severely broken reactor, it's safe to say that like the coolant systems will be totally non-functional, and then it's only a matter of time before you end up being able to not control the temperatures and of the rods and stuff like that, keep them cool. So you just get a meltdown as well. So there was probably multiple effects from that, apart from the steam, other effects which may have been at play there. So and then of course there's lots of people out there who don't believe it happened at all. I don't know. I don't I don't personally, I don't believe everything's a conspiracy. That's just me though, My first cigarette in an hour. Fucking hell, man. I best fucking catch up quick, or they'll be locking me up in an asylum. Let me check in with Raconteurs on the Rumble chat. Rumble is quiet, and Gonzo is, and we've got Wizardly Hamilton and Loving Beavers in the chat over as well too, and Jovial Hodgkin. I have no idea who these people are because, of course, for anybody who's over on the raconteursnews.com and is not familiar with the basic setup of what you do, I'll just give you a little quick demo of what you have to do basically to get your name set up and stuff like that. Here we go. Here we go. We do a Luma wipe. I love those Luma wipes. So, what am I looking for here? Yeah. For everybody over on the raconteursnews.com or the raconteursnews.co.uk site, up here on the right hand corner, there's a little menu which lets you set your username. You can choose to be whoever you like, you know, and no password is required, and there's no limit to the amount of names you can set, so you can change your name as many times as you want, and, you know, whatever you like. It's pretty free to use, and so that's the basics of navigating on the raconteursnews.com site. So, but at the moment, like, of course, we're all back here on YouTube for the moment, and I'm going to do my best not to fuck this up. Like, you know, we have access to the Raconteurs News site over on Rumble, of course, because I was in touch with Danielle, and we are trying to get everything sorted out. But there's a few issues trying to just get access to the YouTube channel, because obviously I don't have Jason's phone. So, and I haven't seen Danielle or heard from Danielle in about 2 weeks now. So obviously when I attempt to access, she's going to have to sort of like click some button on the YouTube app or something like that to allow access to my computer. But I can't do that until I get back in contact with her. So at the moment, Tony over here, Tony's in two places. I have to sort of keep in mind that there may be people lurking on several platforms at the moment. So, but that's cool. That's cool. So, so that's the story with the YouTube. So I still haven't been able to get access to YouTube, but it's not that like Danielle wants to pass the keys over, and obviously I'm a little bit concerned about using the YouTube platform, because obviously, like, you know, with the way things have been going basically with YouTube over the last 3 years, it's become quite difficult just to be able to stay within the bounds of their terms of service. It's quite tricky. And you know, you can talk in code all you fucking like. It doesn't make it any easier. You know, you might think that you've got it. I've got the code sussed. You know, I'll just use this. You know, it's not that simple. You know, because unless you read the terms of service, like, you know, you're never going. And like, if you've ever tried to read the community guidelines, I don't know if anybody out there has tried to read the community guidelines. They're quite complex. You know, there's a lot of hoops. There's a lot of things you have to know. Like, a lot of them are fairly common sense. Like, you know, they are fairly common sense. Like, but there's a lot to keep in mind. You know, so they certainly keep us on our toes, and this would seem to be the way it's going anyway, right? Especially with the hate speech laws that are coming here in Ireland at the moment. It's getting very, very tricky. Like, you know, they're not in just yet, right? They're still rolling their way through. And I do actually have a little bit of an update for you all, really. I don't know if you all remember. I'm sure a lot of you do remember. We had Gareth was on. He was being taken through the court system under Section 6 of the new legislation to control thought crime, speech crime, stuff like that. Like, he is in the fucking clear, right? He's in the goddamn clear. I got a message from there the other day. I felt so bad, like, because I should have been there. I should have been there with him on the Tuesday. And it just totally slipped my fucking mind. I was kicking myself afterwards. But what I might do is, I think it might be fair to read the message that I got from him on Telegram. I think I can read it safely. So June 27th, I got this, which was, I think this was Tuesday. Was it 27th? 27 was Thursday. Anyway, it doesn't matter. No, I'm not going to worry too much about the day. 2 for 2, he said. Well, today was another shit show. I had to interrupt and remind the judge that I had requested a trial date be set and was awaiting CCTV. Obviously, like if you remember, the on Garda Síochána were making it very, very difficult for him to get access to the CCTV footage, which by law he is required to get, especially as a lay litigant. Like, any information that you request has to be given to you in a timely manner. But they kept on giving him the CCTV footage in encrypted form and in a form that couldn't be accessed. And believe you me, I tried to even fucking decode the goddamn shit for him. Like, and it's not too often that I find a problem that I can't fucking solve when it comes to files and stuff like that. But I couldn't even unencrypt this motherfucking CCTV footage. So basically, he made it clear to the judge that he was expecting that the trial date was to be set, okay, and that and still awaiting this CCTV footage. So he chewed the head off a Garda for calling him an offender, right? So obviously, if I was there, I would have heard this. But obviously, the Garda called him an offender, and Garrett took great umbrage to that and chewed the head off him. So and was told to wait while they sourced the CCTV footage, right? So obviously, like after he chewed the head off the Gardaí, they decided to try again to source the CCTV footage of the incident in question. And the incident in question, if for anybody who doesn't remember, it's got to do with a case in Longford here where there's a local senator. He's a chap called Micheál Carrigy, a little shithead, really. I thought he used to be all right, but he turned into a complete fucking arsehole since the COVID started, right? And he was the one that was standing up in the Senate. He's now a senator sitting in the Senate here in Ireland, which would be the equivalent to the English House of Lords, something similar. So, and this Micheál Carrigy was up. He was demanding that, he was sort of proposing that everybody this treatment, this 100% safe and effective thing, be mandatory for everybody, and that nobody should be allowed to work or do anything. So Garrett confronted him, and he had good case. He had good cause, because his wife was just after getting a load of hassle in her local workplace after the whole thing was over, the pandemic and everything was over, done and dusted. And the next thing you know, there's an area manager coming in and giving her a hard time about not wearing a mask, and it's just what the fuck, and no obligation on her to wear a mask or anything like that. So she got suspended. From her job, and as that was happening, Gareth met this senator outside the doors of where she works, and he couldn't help himself. He said, well, I'm going to confront this fucker here. Why are you mandating these treatments and stuff just so that people can earn a living to feed their children and stuff like that? They have 5 children, fucking hell, a serious situation they've been through. I'll get Garrett on again at some other stage, and we can chat about it, just with Stu on that, just for the moment, but we will get him back on at some stage. But anyway, so that's kind of a little bit of the background for anybody who doesn't remember. So where was I? So he was told we're going back to the court again now, and he was told to wait while they tried to source the CCTV footage of the incident in question, right? So he said he was standing outside having a smoke. Many a time I've stood outside the court stairway, Garrett, having a smoke, as you do. And then he was called back in and informed that all the charges were dropped, right? All the charges were dropped. So he made his point to the judge about the guards, turned and walked out. So he was well pleased with what happened. So I'm delighted for him, because he doesn't deserve that hassle. He really doesn't. He's like one of the nicest chaps you will ever meet. Really sound. He's one of our own. But anyway, so that's a bit of a happy ending. They still have the. Oh, hello, hide and seek. I best just check in with the chat and see if anybody new has joined in. Obviously, I can't keep up with everybody. Paula, hey, you Spanish. Blazing Stars, hello. And Stewie, I got earlier. Dinny, fucking car is in the house. Hello, Dinny. um, I got John early, John Smith, and got Mascara earlier. And we got, oh, chat is still going here. Bloody hell, bloody hell. You lads and lassies are busy, 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 busy. Oh, God. Still not caught up yet. Am I caught up? Chris is saying Ireland is very fantastic. Irelandistan is perfect place to live. Irelandistan is what I'm going to be calling it from now on. It's definitely not the old Ireland I remember, but Chris, but it's all right. It's okay. It's fucking hell. It is what it is. Mascara says, "I couldn't work out why the young lad had a Dublin accent in an island off the west coast, though." Well, you'd be surprised, like you'd be surprised, Mascara, about how much of an exodus has been happening out of Dublin over the last few years. It's a lot of people are trying to get out of Dublin, like, and I can't say I blame them. Dublin is a real fucking shithole. Like it's disgusting, man. It's infested with drugs. The the lovely city centre is like you can't even call it lovely anymore. It's like just full of junkies, man. Full of junkies fucking everywhere. It's like scangers and fucking. It's an awful place. Awful. My first memory of Dublin was the smell of the Liffey. As a child, we went on a school tour on the bus as we did back in the days, and come into Dublin and remember driving up the quays. The smell coming off the Liffey, and I was just thinking, what the fuck? Do people live next to this fucking smell? It was like, but but it's not unusual for cities for their rivers to stink like the high heaven. Like they do stink. Like city rivers do stink. Like but, I just thought the Liffey just stank like hell, and I think there's an old song about that. And the Liffey sure did stink like hell. Like, who was it sang that fucking song? The Dubliners. I think it was the Dubliners or someone like that. Or no, it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't the Dubliners. Denny hates that. I know that. I know. Denny's fucking. I know what Denny thinks of Dublin. Fucking. I'm just saying, Denny. I think it's a fucking shithole. And you know what? I'm all for it. Leave Dublin to the foreigners. You know, they'll you know, it'll make a lovely ghetto. You know, the sound Dublin people are actually getting out. You know, the sound Dublin people are getting out. They're trying to make new lives for themselves down in the countryside. They're adopting old ways. They're trying to get into farming, trying to self sufficiency, doing up old colleges, just getting away from it. Like, you know, because Dublin is a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. Mascara is talking about the film Banshees of Inish something. Inisheer, was it? Inisheer did. The film The Banshees of Inisheer, maybe. Yeah. I remember that. Who was it? Who was it brought that film up? So it was pretty amazing. So, but Ireland can be a funny place. A funny place. Just Dublin. Dublin. Can't stand it. Can't fucking stand it, man. Really. Of all the cities and all the places on all the earth, the last place that I would want to be is in Dublin now. And I have lived in Dublin. I've worked in Dublin and spent time around. Like, you know, navigating Dublin years ago. When I used to work in it, early 2000, it was a nightmare. Like, you're talking about 2 hours to get home on a journey, which is only about maybe fucking 20 miles. 2 hours to get home. It's just like, oh shit, man. You know, you're doing this day in, day twice a day. You'd be doing that 4 hours on a fucking goddamn city bus, just trying to get the goddamn fucking work in traffic. And I think it's a little bit. It's eased a little bit. Got the tram system now, so it's probably just not quite as bad as it was. Like but I think there's a lot to be said for these 15-minute cities. Like if they could cut down on all the traffic in the cities and like make them a little bit more efficient, it'd be a great thing. Like as I say, like I know there's a lot of people worried about these 15-minute cities and stuff like that, but there are actually good things about sort of like cleaning up the center of towns and getting fucking cars out. And I've come to the conclusion that motorists are terrible people, absolutely terrible. Yeah, they have zero respect. Like motorists down the country are the same. They don't give a shit, man. They take the craziest chances on the fucking roads here. Like I live in a rural area, like and the roads are very 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 slapdash roads, like and they're very, very windy, very, very unpredictable, lots and lots of little hills and crests and stuff like that. You see these people driving on the fucking roads, they'll overtake you, like, if you're not going as fast as they fucking want you to go, they'll overtake you on the crest of a hill or below the crest of a hill. Like, I, I could see this several times a fucking week. They'll be out maybe cycling and stuff like that. They'll be overtaking you like in a really dangerous place. And they actually force motorists on the opposite side off the fucking. I've seen it happen so many goddamn times. And I did be here thinking, do you know what? I can't wait till they ban fucking cars. Get these cunts off the fucking road completely. I tell you what, yeah, why not? Why the fuck not? Because they have no respect. A lot. There's a lot of decent drivers around as well too, but the vast majority don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. They'll run you off the road rather than fucking wait. Whatever the fuck they're in a hurry to get to, I don't know. Like, it's beyond me. Tony saying there's nothing good about 50-minute cities. It's designed to curb our existence, prohibiting us from everything deemed outside our credit score. Uh, yeah, there could be. No, yeah, I know what you're saying, Tony. Like, there's one aspect of 15-minute cities that I like my idea of 15-minute cities is like not everybody sort of locked into a cubicle, but like a city that you can get around in 15 fucking minutes, right? A whole city, not where you're just fucking locked into one zone. I don't think it's going to happen, So I don't buy into all the fucking fear porn. There's just so much fucking fear porn running around at the moment, and I just try to stay away from most of it as best I can, like because I have to try and stay fucking sane, you know. Yeah. If the idea is to make us lose hope, I'll tell you what, I ain't going to lose fucking hope, man. Because I think that's the idea, right? I do think that's the idea. But on the slip side, like I hear your concerns, Tony. I do. I hear your concerns. But at the end of the day, the 15-minute city, it won't be what we think it is. It won't be what the fucking fear porn community is fucking promulgating fucking day in, day out. Like, there's a lot to be said for a community which is based around where the schools are within reach, where there's a shop fucking that you can go to nearby that you can fucking get to. Like, just think about what it's like here in Ireland, right? To get to anywhere fucking decent, like you gotta fucking travel, right? Not everybody has fucking cars and shit like that, and so there's a lot to be said for having sort of like amenities and services within fucking reach, man. There's a lot to be said for that, surely like people can sort of like recognize that would be a benefit to a lot of people. Now obviously, like, there's the flip side, the flip side to it would be like if you had nefarious characters who just wanted to lock you down in a fucking zone and keep you there. That's not going to work. It's not going to fucking work for the simple reason it's just not going to fucking work. And that's why I don't buy into it, like, because um definitely won't work in a rural setting. It's definitely not going to work in a rural setting. And just think about the logistics of making that fucking work on a global. It's not going to fucking happen, man. It's not going to happen. So um I try to stay like I do, all the fear porn channels out there. I take on board what they're saying, like, but at the same time, it's just my rational brain kicks in, and I just think, you know, that won't fucking work. it just won't fucking work. You know, it might work maybe fucking 100 years from now, but it's not going to work now. We just don't have that infrastructure. So it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me, like, and I just laugh at a lot of these channels. It's the only thing they fucking talk about is like 15-minute cities, fear porn, fear porn, fear porn, 24 fucking 7. 24, 24/7, 7 days a goddamn fucking week, man, and it's nonstop. It's nonstop, and I'm sorry, but I just can't. I just can't listen to that bullshit, like, because I have to be rational about this shit as well too. It's just like, it's not going to fucking work, man. Of course, it's not going to fucking work. I think it was I think there was a local town in England, where they've withdrawn their plans for their 50 minute. I can't remember which town it was. It's only in the last few weeks that I heard about it. So, 15-minute city, 5-minute town says, Pete, how you doing, Pete? Yeah. But anyway, look, it's not going to happen, right? It's not going to fucking happen. There was an interesting conversation on the Telegram channel about Hugo Talks. That was not that interesting, but it was interesting. I'm not sure if it was Oxford. I don't think it was Oxford. It was another one that was planned for it. It might have been another town, Chris. But still, the plans have been withdrawn due to concerns of the community, right? And this is my understanding of what's going on. So it's not going to fucking happen. Not going to happen. No matter how much they might. I'd like to see how they were going to implement that here in fucking. I really would. I'd love to. It's inevitable. You're going to have to go fucking 40 or 50 miles nearly fucking every second day here in this country for something or other. That's just the way it's set up here. 15-minute fucking town or city ain't going to fucking work in Ireland. No way. I'm sure there's lots of areas in England that's going to be the fucking same, And I'll tell you what, though, I wouldn't have any objections if they wanted to lock everybody in Dublin down into 15-minute fucking zones. I wouldn't object to it. I said, yeah, to keep them fucking there, keep those cunts stuck in that shit. Oh man, don't let them out the fuck. We have enough of our own problems. Are you hearing the music, by the way? Are you actually hearing the music tonight? I don't know. It's down very low. I actually have it on very, very low. I know I can hear it here, like, but I'm not sure if you guys are hearing it. Guys, I said guys. Oh, do you know what? It's great to be able to be free to say guys without having somebody sort of like, you said guys. Oh, Chris can pop music. Yeah. Oh, so I. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I know why there's no music. I haven't got. I haven't jacked my fucking audio system. Let's see. How do you do that? Slash. How do you do? How do you connect? Dash. Yeah. Oh, right. Connected now, so I'm not sure. Anyway, we should be okay with YouTube, I think, because this doesn't count as music at all. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'm going to stir my dinner, right? I'm just going to stir my dinner, right, and make sure it doesn't burn to the bottom of the pan. Now, there we go. Dinner is served. Turn that crap off. Thanks, fuck, he's gone. Get that microphone out of my fucking gob before I blow your speakers. How you doing then? Ah, fair play. It's not too bad, is it? It's not too bad. It's where is that coming from? It's coming from Energy 1058 over at Shoutcast, shoutcast.com. So sometimes when I'm bored and I don't know what to fucking listen to, I'll pop over to shoutcast.com, and there's a good selection of stuff. But I've noticed recently, shoutcast.com, I've actually changed their listings. You can't find the directory anymore from their homepage for some reason. I don't know what. Well, I think I might know what they're trying to do. I think they're just trying to get people to log in, sign up for an account, maybe, or something like that. But if you don't know how to find the Shoutcast directory anymore, it still exists, right? It does still exist. And you can find it at directory.shoutcast.com. So just in case, I chuck it in there into the chat. Just in case. It doesn't do just drum and bass. There's also, I just picked this channel just earlier on because it kind of sounded half okay, like, you know. So but they have all sorts of music there, like, you know, not just electronic, like, you know, they got jazz, blues, rock, pop, you know, you name it, like, they got all sorts there. Quite good 24/7 music, like, you know, it's free, so why not, you know? When the weather's good, like, I do pull the speakers outside and turn the ghetto blaster up full whack, and I'd be out doing my fucking gardening and stuff, like, with the sound of drum and bass or or R&B, or it could be anything, you know. Actually, another love, like, happy hardcore, you know, happy hardcore, techno, into techno. I can't stand much music with lyrics and stuff like that, like, you know. I'm not really fond of music with lyrics and stuff like that, like, obviously anybody who's got fucking, you listen to a lot of those pop tunes and just think to yourself, like, what the fuck is this cunt writing about here? They all sound like they've all got a fucking mental issues, like, you know. It's always about, like, love lost or love found or something like that, and it's just fucking head cases, man. Can you not just shut the fuck up and just play a tune? Yeah, and then they got trance, they got all sorts over at shoutcast.com, like, it's not a bad service, like, it's not a bad service at all. And if need be, like, I will sign up for an account, like, but at the moment the directory is still available, but you can't get to the directory anymore from the front page for some reason, whatever that's about. I don't know, but anyway, my dinner wasn't burnt yet. Here's to your health, everyone. So, didn't cover any stories yet. Hey up, lass. Ah, look who's come to visit. There's Marley. Hey up, Marley. Poor little dear. Little dear. She's come over to say hello. She's been eating a lot of TLC lately, so she comes over. She never usually comes over and sits on my lap, like, you know, but she's been doing it a lot lately, like, you know. So I'll tolerate her for the moment. Like, it's like, I can't wait till she's back in proper health, and I don't have to be fucking babysitting her anymore. It's like, I don't normally do that. It's like, Cats, come on, just do your own fucking thing. Don't be annoying me, right? Because I don't I don't like to have a cat parked on my fucking lap for too long, But how could I say no though? How could I say no when she's not in form, And just you know have to give her a little bit of moral. Is it moral support? Is it moral support? Is asking, am I in a cupboard? I might as well be in, No, 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 I'm not in a cupboard. I pissed in the cupboard once, though, or twice. Twice, I think. Oh, it's Mascara. Does Mascara do some music, John? Yeah. Tell you, a couple of cats is making great slippers for loved ones. You're probably not too far wrong. This one, you wouldn't get much of a meal out of her. She's only about like 2.1 kilos at the moment, so or 3.1 kilos. So you wouldn't get much of a dinner out of her. So. Well, whenever you get some tunes done, Mascara, let us know, and for sure we fucking play them. Like, for sure we play them. So I suppose you've all been following what's been going on in France the last couple of days. It's absolutely crazy what's going on there. Unreal, absolutely unreal what's going on in France at the moment. And I'll just turn that down a bit now, and for all the people who have, because like it's not everybody's cup of tea. I have to be honest, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'll leave it kind of ticking away there, sort of in the background. But little fucker, yeah. She's because I just squirt the stuff into her fucking ears. She's very, very itchy at the moment, and if I touch her ears at all, next thing you know, she's fucking scratching, and she's drawn more fucking blood over the last couple of days. It's unreal, especially trying to get the drops in. When you try to put the drops into her fucking ear, next thing you know, she's scratching you like a cunt, But I'm learning how to avoid it, but still though, the steroids are steroids in that medication, so it's supposed to stop the scratching, So, but yeah, the France issue is just kind of unreal. Let's see. Where was it? Let's see. We'll figure out just what the fuck is going on in France. So we've got 100 cities burning. Rumors of a civil war in France. Gateway pundit story. You can't call that a civil fucking war. Although, you wouldn't know what the fuck could happen in France. They have a huge immigrant population, absolutely massive. So basically, what they've got is this from the Gateway pundit. France is descending into civil war as Arab gangs took to the streets for a fourth day of rioting after a 17-year-old was shot trying to run a traffic stop in Paris. I seen the video of that traffic stop. It wasn't too graphic, it wasn't over graphic, but still, it's not nice watching something and somebody lost their fucking life in it, So let's see if we'll open this up, because there are some stories out there. There's some crazy fucking videos. So we got Francis descending into civil war as Arab gangs took to the streets for a fourth day riding up the 79 police officers were injured Friday night, with 7 being injured by shotgun fire in Lyon suburb. Le Figaro reports 515 officers in total have been injured. 70% of the French people are in favor. Listen to this. 70% of the French people are in favor of sending the army to restore order in the neighborhoods, according to the CSA. And do you know what? Unfortunately, this is what it might fucking take. It might take having to fucking get the army in there, because I'll tell you what, if you have, I'm not sure if you've seen much of the footage. Police are unable to control the migrant and the left-wing riots taking place across the country. Left wing, yeah, because I think Antifa are in there with them. Like, French media has surrendered and cannot keep track of the number of towns and cities across the country being looted, set on fire, and destroyed. Migrant insurgents fired automatic weapons and RPGs. Yeah, let's see if we get this. Look at these guys. Look what they're holding here. Look at these guns here. These are American weapons, I believe. I'll tell you what, I'm going to switch to a different way of viewing this screen, because I would like to be able to go full screen. I'd like to be able to go full screen for this at times. So just thought I'd give you another look at that, because look at these weapons here. These are not fucking standard weapons that migrants are going to be carrying around with them. Check this out. Some of these people have got handguns as well too. Look at them, handguns there, handguns. Rioters fire a rocket-propelled grenade at the French police. I seen this earlier on today. Wasn't sure what to make, but this is definitely serious stuff. Look at the size of this explosion. This is rocket propelled, as far as I can make out. That was fired at the French police station. Snipers on the rooftops were seen taking aim with rifles. The migrants have deployed snipers to rooftops now. Where did they get the guns and learn sniper skills? I wonder. More evidence that these riots are a coordinated event with bought and paid for saboteurs to take down France. Well, I would suggest that it's much more trickier than that. But look, this is an American weapon, I believe. There was videos of this weapon being put around in various sources today. I believe that's an American weapon. But anyway, a proper sniper wouldn't be out in the open like that. But anyway, it just goes to show you. Obviously, he's got some level of training. French locals been targeted and attacked again tonight by migrant mobs, this time in Bordeaux. The public are now being dragged from their vehicles and attacked by rampaging scum in France. Being posted by Paul Golding. The French need to back. Here we go. The French need to back Marine Le Pen. So if you're wondering why this mob is being unleashed, there you go. Because the French need to be backing Marine Le Pen. It's all a big push just to get the to get a more sort of like a change of power, but a swing rather from the left, but to the right this time. You know the usual fucking bullshit. Narrative Frenchmen in Angers armed themselves with baseball. I've seen that. I should. I don't have that video was on here, but there's ordinary people were mobbing together to defend themselves and the shops, like with baseball bats. Quite a few of them. June 28. Anyway, look. This is the state of affairs in France at the moment. Polish Prime Minister uploaded a video of French riots saying, "We do not want scenes like this in Poland." Nobody wants scenes like that fucking anywhere. But at the end of the day, what the fuck do you expect? Like, when you have fucking criminal fucking gangs pushing uncontrolled migration into the European, not just Europe. Like, this is not just happening in Europe. This is the same thing going on in America as well too. Exact same fucking thing. It's unreal. Um, but it is what it is. And that was a story from the Gateway Pundit about it. There was more from the Gateway Pundit on this about the number of cities, 100 cities. Uh, so, despite increasing in police around the country, 45,000 policemen and gendarmes onto the street, equipped for the first time with 18 armoured vehicles. The unrest situation in France remains out of control in the first night since the videotape. Yeah, right. Anyway. But yeah, it just seems to me, it seems to be an ideal way to get a form of martial law in. A lot of control. This has been my idea from the beginning anyway. You know, I was thinking that like there's obviously a clear plan for flooding Europe, like with unvetted like migrants, and we've all heard the stories about like how they all appear to be of military age, and you know yourself, like, and I'm of the opinion that part of the entourage that are being brought into the country, like, are being trained for war outside the country, right? Outside the country, and possibly Ukraine, places like that, or far abroad, like, you know, because this current crisis in Ukraine is that you can hardly say that it's confined to Ukraine. It's kind of like a global effort, like, so part of this refugee crisis, part of the entourage definitely been trained for military activities abroad. Um, there's probably a certain cohort are being sort of like driven in here by nefarious actors, right? I mean, we can't take all of these things in isolation, so because we don't know the full dynamics of the situation. It's clear at the moment, though, that we're heading towards kind of guerrilla warfare. This next world war, I think it's going to be guerrilla warfare. I'm nearly certain of it. Like, I mean, there was a story coming out. I don't know if you remember a few weeks back. There was a lot of panic over, like, the big panic. A lot of these Americans they panic really easily. Like, you know, every time there's a military exercise, going on, they go into full panic fucking mode, and they run to the shops, buy toilet paper, and then run to their fucking basements or cellars or wherever it is that they fucking bug out. Like, you know what the Americans are like. They're not all like that, of course, like, but you know, there's quite a few preppers over there. So, but it turns out though that there are big military operations, or not operations like, but there's a lot of activity like with training at the moment going on in America. Let's see if I can get the story up for you. Guerrilla warfare exercises. Oh sugar, I've lost my link to the browser. Just give me a moment just to correct this. Where's it gone? Don't tell me I closed the bloody window. Oh, do you know what? I must have closed the bloody window. Holy shit. Well done, Jim. Well done, Jim. New window. Hold on. Just bear with me just a second. And I have to reorganize my window orientation here for this particular story. So these are exercises which have been that were running in around the time that all the preppers and stuff were going nuts about, like, seeing tanks on the streets and alleged helicopters coming into towns, and advanced military operations going on in America. Like, they thought that the government were going to unleash the military on them. But what was going on, while all that was going on, there was a guerrilla warfare exercise in West Virginia. looks heavily influenced by the Ukraine war. The latest iteration of the US military Ridge Runner drills included Russian SAMs and apparent enemy suicide drones launched teams. So these are some images, like basically of what type of exercises have been going on in America. Like these are suicide drones here. I think these are supposed to replicas of the some of the Russian rocket launchers. Basically, they're not actual real. They're just copies of them, like for the drills. So special operators and other personnel from across the U.S. military recently concluded an exercise focused heavily on preparing them to conduct guerrilla warfare and other tasks deep behind enemy lines. Some of the scenarios featured what looked like mock Russian S-300, S-400 surface-to-air missile systems, and what might stand for kamikaze drones, yeah, pointing to direct influence from the fighting that has happened right now in Ukraine. The exercise in question, which is called Ridge Runner Exercise 23-01, concluded on June 16th, according to a release from the West Virginia National Guard. The West Virginia National Guard manages the Ridge Runner training program out of Camp Davidson in the northern end of the state and conducts multiple iterations of the exercise every year. And this happens every year too, as well, in Russia. Like they do these types of exercises, but these ones appear to be focused on guerrilla warfare. Ridge Runner is designed to create a dynamic and realistic training environment for people to actually come and operate in scenarios where you're not confined to traditional military training environments. An anonymous member of the Ohio Anonymous, I hate these fucking anonymous sources, assigned to the 19th Special Forces Group Airborne, explains in a video. Anyway, no, I'll just move on. So basically, what we're looking at here, we're seeing the kind of war that they're preparing for, right? Basically, seems to be guerrilla warfare, right? Because the more I look at what's going on in Ukraine, the less likely it seems to me that like this war will be won conventionally in Ukraine, right? I can't see it happening just like that. They're preparing for guerrilla tactics inside not just Ukraine, but also Russia and many other fucking places too, probably, more than likely. And we may expect the same as well. Like, obviously, like these migrants coming in, like we're being flooded for a reason, right? We're being flooded with these, and we don't know exactly who's behind it. Like, although I've heard rumors that a certain country that shall not be named, Israel, may have something got to do with the flooding of our borders with these extra people. And I'm pretty sure we can't sustain that. Like, we can't sustain this amount of influx in reality. Like, but this is what's happening. Like, so whether we like it or not, we may be pushed into this war. Whatever we think about what's going on in Ukraine or not, like it's going to come to our streets by the looks of it. Like, I think we're seeing parts of what it might look like now at the moment in France, like with the those fuckers, like with fucking American guns. And where did those guns come from? Like, there's a lot of stories going around online that like some of those guns may have been part of a consignment that was supposed to be earmarked for Ukraine. And I can't remember way back, long time ago, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when the war was kicking off, it was being suggested that like watch out, because a lot of these weapons will probably end up on European fucking streets before too long. And I think it's coming to pass. It looks like that fucking prediction is coming to pass right now. So we're heading for interesting times, I believe. I do believe, and I think France may be a fucking litmus test for what may be coming to the rest of us. Like, because I don't get why we're taking on so many migrants here now. I don't get it, like, because we can barely keep our own fucking people supported. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Probably the guns abandoned by Afghanistan, says Chris. Yeah, possibly, Chris. Partly, partly like that. But I imagine the Taliban are going to need anything that was left behind in Afghanistan is going to be needed by the Taliban because I think America probably played that right. Although the pullout, I think the pullout of Afghanistan was a little bit weird to say the least. China are moving in, so Afghanistan is now China's problem. So um, Russia failed in Afghanistan, America failed in Afghanistan, and China will fail in Afghanistan. So if they think that they're going to go in and just take that fucking place, yeah, they can forget about it. Yeah, forget about it. Nobody just walks into fucking Afghanistan and takes it. They may hunker down for the fucking long haul. Let's see if I catch up. I'll see if I missed anything in the chat here. Well, I won't go back too far. You being saying, anyone remember the terrorist attack in France during the 80s? I was in Paris in 1989, got checked with metal detecting tools when entering the shopping centre. Terrorist attack in the 80s. Whoa, God. There's been so many. There's been so many terrorist attacks in France. I don't remember that particular one. You being Paul is howling at the moon. Fair play to you, girl. You might as well. Let me have a look and see. I'm not seeing the moon here. It's actually quite dark out there. In fact, quite dark. But then again, though, we have been. It's been very, very cloudy here. Just temperatures dropped here completely. The cloud cover is just. There's no sun getting through, so I doubt the moon has much chance. So that's where we are here at the moment. John is saying, every year that goes by seems to vindicate Enoch Powell's famous Rivers of Blood speech. And Tony saying the nukes we have are not ours. That's true. France and America has a say how and when we can use them. Of course. And quite rightly so. Imagine Liz Truss being in charge of the big red button. That'd be fun. Although she was up in she was speaking in Parliament recently. I did see it just in passing. I didn't pass too much heat on it, like, you know, where she's calling for the fast tracking of Ukraine into NATO. I could see this happening. But the more I look at what's going on in Ukraine, it's like Russia are not winning that war, man. They actually got an interesting story. I'll read it. I'll read it. I'll just finish with it. I'll get into it now in just a moment. Yeah, I've gone back far enough in the chat. John is saying, look at the areas these riots start. All high immigration areas, just like in the 81 riots in England. Chris is saying it was always the intention of uncontrolled mass migration to destabilize Western Europe, but everyone wanted to ignore it. Yeah, this is part of the plan, I believe. Yep, 100%. The question is, whose plan is it? Is it an internal plan or was it an ISRAEL? And I'm telling you, those fuckers. Anyway, a fast track. Oh, Paul is going to send a link. Well, let's see. Hold on a second. Paul. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, fine, Paul. Yeah. Send me over a link to the moon. I'll start howling myself at it. Like, I won't get much of an opportunity to go out under cloud cover to howl at the moon, you know. So And I don't want to freak the cat out either, so let's be careful for her at the moment. She was already cutting me a strange eye when I was howling a few minutes ago. But no, because I closed my because I closed my browser window there a few minutes ago, I have to reopen it and reset my. Why did I close that bloody window? I don't get it. But I want to get an interesting story up that I was following regarding Russia, right? From a Russian writer this time, because I follow as many different sources as I can. Like, we're try to get the best information that I can get about what's going on inside Russia, and it's not easy. But after reading this article, it became very, very apparent, like, why it's not easy to get good information about what's going on really inside Russia. So, if you just give me a moment just to reset my set Firefox up to Digo. There we go. No, should be on back on track again. Back on track. And Jimmy, don't be a bollocks and shut that window down again. It's not part of the plan. So this was a story from a Russian writer whose name is Rollo Slavsky. Rollo Slavsky. I'll zoom in so you can actually follow along. Russians support Wagner, actually. Let's dispel the rumor that anybody likes Shoigu, right? So, the headline says it all. I spent the last 2+ days in Russian chats, interacting with Russians, writing to people in Moscow, St. Petersburg, Krasnodar, and Siberia. The vast majority of everyone, even if they themselves don't support Wagner or are wisely afraid to do so publicly, acknowledge that Wagner's popularity improved after the Moscow SMO. Anyone who claims the opposite is lying to you and cannot prove his views, unlike myself, who shouldn't even have to at this point because of how stellar my reputation is, but will do so anyways. They also don't understand basic heuristics related to group psyche of the people and how populism taps into it. He goes on to say here, here's why Wagner won in the battle for perception and popularity in Russia. Point 1. Shoigu is a Tuvan gangster who hates Russians and participated in ethnic cleansing of Russians, or at least did not intervene in the 1990s in Tuva. Russians are sick of racial aliens lording over them and their government, being run by people who look like they ought to be running a fruit stall at the bazaar. Prigozhin's critiques of the Kremlin found fertile ground. They have been around for decades, and the distaste for the government has only been growing. Wagner is rightly seen as the only effective fighting force in Russia. Now, he has a good point there, because I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Why is fucking Wagner good? Why were they the ones doing all the fucking heavy lifting? Where was the Russian military? But anyway, I digress. They are bathed in a halo of cool and victory and Russianness because of their actions in the Syria and Donbass. People like audaciousness and boldness and shows of strength, which the Wagner mutiny had in spades. The Kremlin looked weak and retarded, which people instinctively hate. And that actually is a good point, because from what I have learned, that's the way the Russians are. They do like that. They do like strength, shows of strength and stuff like that. That's part of the psyche there. The Kremlin looked weak and retarded, which people instinctively hate. Russians are in disbelief and shock that their government could have let the situation spiral into a war with fraternal, blood-related Ukraine in the first place. Very important there, blood-related Ukraine in the first place. Russians are in disbelief and shock that their government is unable to win against Ukraine. Another interesting point. A very, very interesting point. What is going on there? Why is it the Wagners were the only one making any fucking progress? Russians are in disbelief and shocked that the government appears to be losing the war slowly but surely. The people who are telling you otherwise, that Wagner has lost his popularity or is hated by the Russian population, are lying to you through their teeth. Also, they are misportraying the ceasefire as a masterful Putin 5D slash 5 dash head play. But it was Lukashenko who averted the crisis, not Putin, who actually escalated the situation needlessly by calling for the death of Wagner, labeling them terrorists just like the Kremlin's overlords in Langley do. As a matter of fact, that's a really good point. Just like by calling the death of Wagner, labeling them terrorists, just like the Kremlin's overlords in Langley. Right? Very, very interesting point. As a matter of fact, for those paying attention, only to reverse his position not 12 hours later, shit his pants and drop all charges. Another good point. All charges were dropped against the Wagners. It's just like, I couldn't get over that myself. Like, how come all the charges were dropped? It was just unreal. I just couldn't fucking figure that bit out. Anyway, I'm digressing again. Much win, very diplomacy. Wow. You have to forgive this. Now, this is the way he writes here now. It's not perfect English, so we just have to fucking roll with it, like despite the few typos. But we won't throw the baby out with the bathwater. With some of the false prophets, the incentive is quite obvious. They are being paid to do so. With others, they have a religious motivation. If Russia loses, Christianity is wrong, essentially. Otherwise, others still are suffering from sunk cost fallacy and are loath to admit that they have been wrong for more than a year now. Those are the three main categories of 5D, Z-Anon, Judo, Chess, Coke, Theorist, as far as I can tell. Now, another reason why these people are so wrong is because so few of them speak Russian, have lived in Russia, or know anything at all about the Russian politics or Russian history besides the absolute basic boilerplate stuff. They also get basic facts wrong. Like, for example, they're claiming that Wagner has been disbanded now. And he asked the question, where did they read this? Or they're saying that Prigozhin had a psychotic episode. He's asking, where's the doctor's note? And apparently Prigozhin has been arrested. Where can I mail prison letters to him then? Maybe even that Shoigu has lost his position. And this rumor was abound. Shoigu would like I even heard that. Now, I was wondering what the fuck is going on. And has been replaced by Putin's bodyguard. Would that it were so, he carries on to say. So, on just a basic level, they are spreading disinfo in the name of their higher fruit, whatever it might be. This will bite them in the butt in the future when people no longer take what they have to say seriously anymore. To be more specific, smart people wouldn't give them the time of day. I know who he's talking about here, but we'll get on to them in a minute. The rubes will never learn, ever. So either the same people or new false prophets can continue leading them astray. In good time, don't you worry. He says, look, there is a huge deficit of people writing about Russia who can read and listen to the original sources. Go down the list yourself. And he mentions the names here. Jackson Hinkle. He mentions the Duran guys. Peter Lavelle, who is with RT. It's Colonel McGregor, right? A fucking idiot who's constantly on fucking... he's been paraded around. McGregor. Ritter, the pedophile. Gonzalo Lira, who's now in prison somewhere in in Ukraine. Larry Johnson, ex-CIA, of course. You know Larry Johnson. And I was surprised that he mentioned Ava Bartlett here, but anyway, he has her on the list. Paul Craig Roberts, Mike Whitney, who I don't know, John Helmer, I don't know, Escobar, yeah, he's a fucking communist. I follow him on Telegram, a fucking communist. Patrick Lancaster, I'm unsure about him. I just think he's a useful idiot. Brian Berletic, another bollocks. Like in fact, like this Brian Berletic fella, not only does he fucking constantly put down his own fucking Home America. Like he was pushing, he he pushing that gene therapy, pushing that gene therapy. I caught him one day spreading that gene therapy bullshit. Um, uh, Cory Boku, I don't know him. Mark Sloboda, another big mouthpiece. I. Earl Grey, English lad. I can't remember his name. I. Earl Grey. You probably follow him. Simplicus. I read a story from Simplicus last week. And the Moon of Alabama. Uh, Most foreign employees at RT and Sputnik and other regulars at Napolitano. I mentioned Judge Napolitano there. I don't like him either. Colonel Daniel Davis, Colonel Tony Schaefer, Alistair Crook. He's an English lad. Alistair Crook, what a name. Jack Devine. Jack Devine. I've listened to all these people. Giraldi and others that I'm not forgetting now. There are only 6 who do or claim to speak. He's talking about here who claim to speak Russian or read Russian, and he's talking about Big Sergey here. Russians with Attitude, who I do listen to. I actually listen to these guys. They're not too bad. Martinov, he's a fucking bollocks, man. He talks and and he talking about who you are, and that won't understand a fucking word he's saying. Ray McGovern, we heard of him. Tim Kirby, the Aussie Cossack. I've heard bad stories about the Aussie Cossack. I think he's a crook, criminal as far as I can make out. Guilty of ripping people off of their hard-earned cash and stuff like that. So, but I'd like to know more about this Cossack fella, but I think he's the wrong one. But they make for a tiny percentage of the total traffic and views, and Kirby and McGovern each have reasons of why they aren't going to take the critical approach to the narratives being promoted now, and all in the rest are Russians, sort of. A few words about the Russian 6. Fat Sergei, I've written about before in passing. Nothing in depth because he is the most boring of them all. But he used to simply cut and paste Saker's opinions and only got big because of Saker's patronage in the early days. Was he a blog commentator that wanted to get into the right grift and blah, blah, blah? Okay, Russians with diabetes, who I've never heard of. The long and the short of it is that you should be very careful with them. They have a horrendous reputation within the Russian nationalist scene that they came out of. I am a personal enemy of both of them, and they quit because I made fun of them. Basically, I called Pig Dog, Hot Dog, and Kamenets coming out heads. I don't know. Obviously, there's some. Obviously, there's a whole political side to all of this, like in the blogosphere, like so with all these characters. And lol, he would do it all over again. The Berg affair, Rollo Slavitsky, 27th of May. Rollo Slavitsky is the guy who's actually wrote this again. So we're talking about here the Berg affair. Russian telegram posters are notoriously bad writers, and I wouldn't disagree with that. I really wouldn't. They're terrible writers. And no sane person wants to deal with trying to parse through their obtuse prose. Bad enough that they ruin everybody's happy-go-lucky mood with their tales of doom and gloom, but you actually have to scratch your head and squint at the text to figure out what they're trying to get across. There are many reasons for why they're all such bad writers, but the main reason may be that anyone past a certain age was raised according to Soviet standards and ideals, and the Soviet Union was the most fake-educated. It's see this way into intellectual. The way I like it the way he types into intellectual, Puritan moral farts sniffing society that ever existed in the history of humanity. That is until the USSR rallied and took back the crown with its new and improved moral crusades to save black lives, the borders of Israel and New Israel, which he outlines here as Ukraine. New Israel, we've talked about this before, and the rights of perverts to access young boy bodies. It has a link there to the full story. But Multianov, a mixed-race Slovak with submarine experience and technical military experience, for years he claimed that Shoigu had revolutionized Russia's arsenal with wonder weapons. Well, what do you guys think? Do your lying eyes tell you? I see old Soviet tanks jerry-rigged with TNT. He's not fucking around here. Jerry-rigged with TNT being rolled down the hills at the UAF. Much innovation, very tech now. Wow. And this is a fact. This is a fact. This happened only a week ago. They actually pile of TNT into a fucking tank and rolled it down the hill into the armed forces of Ukraine and let it blow. He's not fucking around here. Goes on. Ray McGovern. No idea who he is. Might be good, might be bad. Feel free to link me to his best and worst to help me make up my mind. Ray McGovern is a fucking idiot. Tim Kirby, a friend of the blog, hates Russian nationalists, thinks I have a small dick. And Russian women, Russian media integrating into Russia. Aussie Cossack, like he goes on, he doesn't know Cossack either. So if I'm being charitable, what I'm saying is I really do not knock on some of these guys. It isn't their fault that they can't speak Russian well enough to make sense of this stuff. Due to the nature and volume of the information coming out now, it is almost impossible to make sense of unless you devote many years to perfecting Russian, and you also preferably have to have lived in Russia for a long time to get good enough to contextualize it. This is why maybe they mistakenly think that the Russian people support Shoigu. If they knew any Russians, sat in any Russian chats, watched all the videos flooding Telegram now of all the people coming out in support of Wagner, they would be forced to reconsider. I don't think they would reconsider because they're getting paid to fucking take that stance. Who am I kidding? There he goes. They get paid by the spooks to toe the party line. And this has been my opinion of a lot of these fucking Duran, Berletics, Liras, the whole fucking lot. That's exactly my fucking thoughts exactly over this last 2.5 years. Now the 24-hour coup didn't just reveal that the Russian people support Wagner, or rather hate Shoigu, but proved that the military largely supports Wagner, or if push comes to shove, will largely refuse to fight them on Shoigu and by extension Putin's orders. Even Kremlin-approved allies and politicians are admitting this. Oleg Tasarev, who we have covered before several times already for his candid analysis, had this to say. Yesterday's success of the PMC was due to many reasons, but one of them is the neutrality of the military. The army, with rare exception, did not intervene. Why did the army intervene? I brought this point up last week. Why were they allowed to get so close to Moscow? You know, it just didn't make any fucking sense. The only thing that made sense was that the army just stood down. Because the Wagnerites are their comrades in arms. Many of them in the past served and studied together, fought in the same blood with them. But the second reason is that the conflict between Shoigu and Prigozhin, the army was on the side of Prigozhin. It's amazing, but I have a huge number of friends and acquaintances among the military. All, as one, are deeply negatively disposed against the Minister of Defense and his inner circle. I know General Alakseev as well. Significant for the army man. Remember that conversation between the three at the heroes. Yes, this what he's talking about here. When Wagner got to Rostov, right? When Wagner got to Rostov, there was this iconic sort of like video of the of Prigozhin. He was sitting there on a bench drinking tea, chatting with the military command subordinates there at Rostov, at the military center in Rostov. This is what he's talking about here. He says, "I know General Alakseev well, significantly for the army man. Remember that conversation between the three heroes of Russia, Yevkurov, Prigozhin, and Alakseev. Vladimir Stepanovich Alakseev always liked to joke, but in his answer to Prigozhin's words that they had come for Shoigu and Gerasimov, and Stepanovich answered, 'Take them away then.' There was only a fraction of a joke." Right? Wow, candid stuff, guys, and he's playing it down, if anything. The video at the end he's referring to as a Prigozhin capturing Rostov. Yeah, I've just explained that. As for military men hating Shoigu, well, literally everyone who reads my blog knows this to be true. I have translated articles, conducted interviews, done everything I could to get the information out there. All the people in the list of my bloggers that I provided above know who I am. They refuse to engage with my material out of spite, even though I provide primary sources that you can't find anywhere else on the English internet. I have a profile of a presidential candidate promoted by a Russian veteran community coming out soon. You think Prigozhin's critiques were bad? Wait till you hear this. Russia's veteran officers allege that the Kremlin is organizing a deliberate demographic genocide of the Russian people and they are correct, of course. Anyways, the only real news has been Shoigu finally showing his face and pretending to look busy. Yeah, anyway, um, that's basically the nuts and bolts. This is a Russian blogger. I just thought this a fascinating read. I just thought I'd share that like with everybody because um, it's not often like I mean like we get a lot of we do get a lot of information about the war from, on Telegram, but I do question a lot of the time. I do question a lot of what I hear, see. I don't believe anything that I read, hear, or see. But I found it, I like to. Sometimes I just like to get these actual sources that come who speak Russian, and you know what? They're few and far between. Apart from the usual fucking suspects, like and I just can't be listening to them anymore. The likes of your Brian Berlitics and your fucking Durans and Ray McGoverns and all those fucking arseholes, man, who think they're fucking somebody and they, because they've got this fucking ex-CIA fucking background that they're the fucking bees fucking knees and know it all. No, they're fucking a bunch of fucking arseholes and should not be fucking given any attention whatsoever. You got the likes of your Judge Napolitano rolls out the same fucking arseholes day in, day out, same question over and over and over again, 7 days a week, fucking 365 days a year, the same fucking questions over, and you get the same fucking answers back from the arseholes. Same answers. Napolitano, right? Ex fucking judge. Who does he roll out? He rolls out Scott fucking Ritter. Now, I don't have to tell you what Scott Ritter is. Convicted fucking pedophile. Goddamn pedophile. And he's on regular, once a week at least, with Judge Napolitano, right? That should tell you a lot. That should tell you really a lot. But I know I've been going on for a while now about how this war doesn't seem to be fucking quite right, and how I didn't think the Russians were winning. And I'm telling you what, the more I watch, the less I think they're fucking winning this war, and I think they're going down fucking hard, along with China. I think they'll fucking go down together. That's what I think is going to happen here. And I'm not really on any side, but I'll tell you what, if I have to fucking pick a side, I'll pick our own side. That's what I'll do. I've given it a lot of thought, given it a lot of consideration. I feel bad for the people stuck in the middle of that shit there in fucking eastern fucking Ukraine. I feel really bad for them, like, and I don't know what to say about it. Like, it is what it fucking is. But at the end of the day, I cringe. I cringe at the thought of an alliance between Russia and China and them coming together to civilize the fucking world. No, these cunts are not our friends, man. And it's not the Russian people. It's not the Russian people at all. It's not the Chinese people at all. It's the oligarchs, the goddamn fucking oligarchs, and the cunts behind them, like whoever is running them. That's the problem. Like, this is the problem, not the Russians. They've suffered enough. I was reading. I was actually sort of like reviewing some old stuff, like about the 1917 to 1920, in around the time of the Russian Civil War and the revolution and the death of the Tsars, the Romanovs. Terrible time, what the Russians went through back then, what the Ukrainians went through back then, right? What they went through was just unreal. I mean, they lost what, 7-8 million people, starvation, fucking moved out of their homes, and no wonder they hate the fucking Russians. It's not the Russians they hate. It wasn't actually the fucking Russians done it to them. Goddamn fucking communists, goddamn bastards of communists done it to them. I think one of the chief instigators, Schiff, was the one who fucking instigated it all when he wouldn't fund the Tsars in the war, in World War, but he funded their enemies, like, and he funded like Lenin and Trotsky, funded all that fucking lot to go in and cause dissent, and so and Schiff, I'm not even going to say it on this channel where he comes from, but I think you can probably guess. But anyway, I thought that article was very, very interesting because I know it. probably not what some people want to hear. Russia. I know a lot of people are all in on Russia. I'm just not. I'm just not. And don't get me wrong. I'm not all for NATO as well. I think NATO needs serious reform. I really do. We've all been infiltrated. And the Russian people have been infiltrated. The Irish have been infiltrated. The English have been infiltrated. Americans have been infiltrated by fucking corporate interests, communists in suits. And it is what it is. And the more I look into it, the more obvious it is. The more obvious it is. Like, and it's too easy to blame America, and that's the idea. There's got to be a bad guy. There has to be a fucking bad guy. Like, but as always, the people who fund this shit always get away scot fucking free for some reason, and it's usually connected to the bankers and all that fucking bullshit. Like the usual suspects, the people with the money, the people funding both sides of a conflict. That's where the problem is. Will we ever get a handle on that? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get a fucking handle on it, but time will tell. Time will tell. I'm confident that something might happen, but clearly, there's another there's another mad dog vying for power here, and it's not going the bankers' way. So, but I have no doubt the bankers will come out on the positive side of it. Like, they'll usually fucking they'll toe the line as soon as the top dog comes out. Like, they'll step in line and get behind whoever eventually does fucking win. Like, but I just wonder how long this is going to carry on. This could be a long fucking war by the looks of it. Looks like it could be going on for a long time, which is why maybe they're training for guerrilla warfare. Are we going to be looking at guerrilla warfare globally in each and every fucking country for the next fucking 10, 20 years? Is this what we could be looking at? It's possible. They're obviously preparing for something along these lines, If the Americans and NATO are preparing along those lines, well, then it's safe to assume the communists are going to be thinking kind of similarly, so they'll be doing the same thing. So we may prepare ourselves. We may prepare ourselves spiritually and psychologically without getting too fucking dragged down into the fear and the doom of it all. But we do have to be sort of kind of like prepared mentally and spiritually for any outcome, I think, But anyway, I'm neglecting the chat. I'm neglecting the chat. Let me scroll back a little. I'm not going to scroll back too far. Let's see what people are saying. Tony saying a guy in England got 19 months in jail for laughing and making nasty comments at the death of 2 cops. Just nothing funny about anybody getting killed, really, anyway. I don't have an opinion on that myself, personally, Tony. That's I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Like, but to be honest, I don't have a lot of respect for cops, but I wouldn't be one to want to see them getting killed either. That sort of way. Depending on what they were. If they were the drug dealing type of cops, well, then I've just probably got what you deserved. And but I wouldn't be running around making fun of it either. Like, but at the same time, you got to have a little bit of a compassion, I suppose. I personally couldn't be laughing at the death of anybody, really. Then again, though, depends on the circumstances. He's saying it's good news. The Russians are allowed to partake in sports again. Yeah, the Russians are suffering. Like, it's like it's not their fucking fault, man. Really. Lots of talk about chicken. I wonder if Spanish chicken is. Hopefully, Spanish you'll be able to stay awake for the night. Anyway, we're getting down to the end of the night. Like, I must actually chuck a link in for anybody who wants to. But like, there was this. Where was that story about? Like, I had a great story about was coming out in England there the last couple of days. Tell you what, well, I've got a few minutes to spare. I'll let the chat. I'll just go back. I'll let the chat go. Sorry, guys, but I'll just let the chat go. So I want to cover this story. It was kind of like funny as fuck. I found it hilarious when I came across it. Let's see if I can find it back. It's got to do with the English prison system. Oh, come on, where are you gone? Where are you gone? Where are you gone? Don't fail me now. Don't fail me now. Oh yeah, for anybody who's trying to, has anybody noticed any problems with Twitter? I was noticing some problems with Twitter earlier on today. Getting in, it looks like Elon Musk is trying to limit access to Twitter now at the moment, like, because apparently there's too much scraping going on. Too much scraping of a site, like, and people are being limited to a few reading about maybe 600 posts a day or something like that. Something fucking stupid anyway. So anyway, to be honest, like, anybody who's depending on Twitter for their fucking news needs their head examined. I used to spend a little bit of time on it, like, you know, but thankfully I don't anymore. Thankfully I don't. Couldn't be arsed with it. So this headline says, Mad UK. 320 million model prison has 18 female guards ousted for sexual affairs with male prisoners. Oh my God. I want to get into that prison, man. Fucking hell. So affairs between female prison guards and male prisoners are hardly something new for as long as but what's happening is HMP Berwyn. Remember that name now. If you need to go to a prison, HMP Berwyn would appear to be the place to go, right? If you're a lad and you're feeling a bit frisky. It's on a whole different level. So the 320 million cushy prison, open to great expectations in 2017, has been consistently plagued by an epidemic of sex and smuggling scandals of catastrophic dimensions. And I tell you, smuggling is hardly unique to prisons, like, you know, and I'm sure sex isn't either. 18 female guards have reportedly been fired for or resigned for having illicit sexual affairs with prisoners, some involving smuggling phones and drugs. Since the 250 million prison opened 6 years ago, set in a sprawling industrial estate in Wrexham, North Wales, the state-of-the-art jail promised to bring a bright future of rehabilitating and training to 2,100 medium risk categories. I'm sure they were getting a good training, all right. However, many were left in shock after the sexually charged criminals' trials of 4 young prison guards: Jennifer Govan, 27, Ashia Gunn, 25, Emily Watson, 26, and Roxanne Walker, 34, all who had relationships with prisoners. Some of the, it don't look too bad for prison officers, I have to say. This girl here, I don't know what's going on with her lips. Like, it looks like you'd probably float the Titanic with those lips. Like, that's a boy. Berwyn had been open for just 5 months when prison officer Emily Watson went ahead and had 3 sexual encounters with a gangster inmate, one of which was on Christmas Day. Of all, any other day but Christmas Day. Holy God. She was jailed for 1 year. Jennifer Gavin fell in love with a young inmate and managed to be along with him when he was on a cleaning duty. She sent sex videos of herself to him on a phone she smuggled for him. She was jailed for 8 months for misconduct in public office. Ashia Gunn was 25 when she took up with a career criminal in Berwyn. She exchanged 1,200 phone calls, including explicit video calls, and smuggled her underwear into her lover's cell. She was jailed for 12 months. Jailed for 12 months for smuggling her. That's harsh. That's fucking harsh. Vulnerable officer Roxanne Walker admitted to falling in love with a manipulative inmate and engaging into a highly sexualized affair. She was handed a suspended sentence. Thankfully, she was vulnerable. I think this must be the place in question. Look at that. That kind of looks like a rainbow-colored frontage there. So I don't know. Make of that what you want. Make of that what you want. Many inmates are smart. They have time on their hands. Of course, they fucking inmates have time on their fucking. I'll tell you, I love these articles, and they know how operate behind bars. I know how operate behind bars, and gangs access new employees to determine if they can be compromised. Of course, they do. Why wouldn't you? 18 cases of inappropriate relationships must mean that something is wrong in the prison. I don't know about something is wrong. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Just sounds like fucking normal human behavior to me. They're fucking horny bastards. Like the chair of the UK's Prison Officers Association insisted the sexual encounters were because the wrong kind of women were being hired. Jeez, don't tell me now. Don't tell me. Maybe we need this new type of modern woman that possibly might have a wiener of some sorts underneath their skirt. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to suggest there. Staff being recruited don't have face-to-face interviews. Oh, right. They don't have face-to-face interviews. Mark Burker said, adding, it's all done on Zoom. Oh my God, yeah, I remember this from earlier. All done on Zoom. So no proper interviews, it's all done on Zoom, right? A lot of people getting these jobs don't have enough life experience and are susceptible to conditioning from prisoners. Her Majesty's Prison Service previously announced it would enhance training and root out guards who undermine our exemplary service. Of course. I'll say no more for the moment on that because we know, like, the people who work for Her Majesty's Prison Service are without blemish, of course, as Jason would attest to if he were still here. Her Majesty's Prison Berwyn is not alone in the epidemic. Good God, gets worse. That has seen 31 female officers dismissed in England and Wales since 2019. Of course, it could be something got to do with the maybe the pandemic. Maybe that's another side effect we haven't looked into. Before some can imagine that this is a phenomenon limited to the UK, maybe we can go back a decade and mirror these four women with the 4 euro. Yeah, right. So it's hardly a new thing. But anyway, I just thought that was a funny article. I had to share that one at least. It's just cracked me up. But yeah, God, look, I mean, what do you do when you're in prison? Because of course you're going to take a chance, especially with some of those female prison officers. I tell you what, I'd be tempted myself to give them a poke or two. As I know exactly where I'm going to prison now when I go to England, and that's where I want to go. That's my next holiday destination. I'm going to go over and I'm going to join Antifa and go glue myself on the highway, and hopefully I'll get sort of like posted to one of the to Bentley or whatever it's called. Just been nuts. Talk about a clown world, folks. Clown world. But anyway, what I'll do is, because we're getting so close to the end, I am going to shove the link into the chat for anybody who wants to join for the after show, and you know yourselves, you know the drill. Oh yeah, I'll put it over on the site. There you go. I don't know if you want to join in, Johnny, or anybody over on raconteursnews.com. You're very, very welcome to call over for a visit, and I will chuck it in over at the Raconteurs News site over on Rumble as well. And thanks, Waxton Baxter, for joining in. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up with the Rumble live chat there. I should have done much better than that. Waxton is just after posting the link to that film, the copy. I'll post that over to YouTube, Waxton, and so just in case anybody wants to watch that film, I've heard it's pretty good. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, though. There's that film there that Waxton was referring to, The Banshees of Inisherin. So here we are. We're 5 to 12 today, the first day of July, and I tell you what, almost feels like winter here, or at least autumn anyway. It's temperatures have severely dropped, like severely, and no sign of it to pick up, like So I'm starting to think that summer is kind of over. We've had our summer now in spring, which is not unusual. Like there has been this shift over the last number of years. It's like the seasons are a good bit out of whack, So it is what it is, and if there is such a thing as global warming, I tell you what, I'm not seeing it. I wish I was seeing it, but I'm not seeing it. Yeah, Chris. I re- and I remember next year I'll be able to say I remember summer in 2023. It was on a Thursday. That's about all I can remember about it. It was on a Thursday anyway. So I'm going to be winding things up now. I'm going to just take a few moments now just to thank everybody who was over on Rumble and appreciate you tuning in. I'll just take a quick look and see how many people are still tuned in. So there's 7 over on Rumble. So much appreciated, Waxton and 4629044. Much appreciated. Obviously, I can't tell who else is just lurking over in Rumble, but much appreciated. I thank Johnny over on raconteursnews.com and Tony, of course, who is in several places all at once. And much appreciated. Nice to see people are still tuning in over on our home site. And I'd like to thank everybody on YouTube as well too. Fair play for taking the night out, taking the Saturday evening out, just tuning in for a couple of hours. After all, it'd be a pretty boring place for me to be hanging out if there was nobody in having a chat. And I'm sorry I didn't keep up with the chat tonight and stuff like that. But look, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. No worries, Tony. Much appreciated. And so I think I might just round it up at that. And 3 minutes to go. And so look at. I'm exhausted now, but look at anybody. We can chat in the background. So after the show, and it'll be there. It'll be available, and I'll be hanging around for a while. So, and I'll be back here again, of course, next Saturday. But bear in mind, I'm going to keep in. I'm taking it on board that maybe Saturday night is not the best night. So I still have it in the back of my mind that maybe we might just shift it back to Friday nights. Yes, just kind of suits just for the moment. The Saturday just suits for the moment. At the moment, it's just. But perhaps we will shift it back to the Friday evening, and go a little bit earlier. I'm thinking about it. So anybody who was requesting that might be a better option, because I know people, from what my understanding, people do have family commitments and stuff on a Saturday and might not be able to, might just not suit Saturday night, So I'll be keeping that in mind. So. But stay tuned. I'm going to stick with the Saturday just for now, and I'll shift it at some stage probably, because you know what, Friday, yeah, it might be a good idea to go back to the old Friday night show, but we'll see. So, but until next Saturday now, everyone, good night and much appreciated, and hope you enjoyed the old banter this evening. So, take care.